Welcome. Today we are going to learn all about subconscious release, how to have a subconscious release. So you might have something in your life that you've been really trying to shift and it's not happening. You consciously want it to happen, but the cycle continues. That's because there's something in your subconscious that really needs to be released. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to shift this energy and shift these patterns so you can enjoy life way more. My name is Derrick Ivey. I am a board certified clinical hypnotherapist, researcher, and intuitive. So let's get right into this. You can just keep in mind that my background is a mix of spiritual and psychological. So I am a clinical board certified hypnotherapist, but I'm also an alchemical and transpersonal hypnotherapist, which is more in the spiritual realms. And I also am an EFT practitioner. I do Reiki, teach Reiki. So that's where my views on this are coming from, just to give you an idea. And it goes to say that there's many ways to go up a mountain and none of them are wrong. If you're getting to the top, that is a path. And there's ways that you can shift this without using any type of healing modalities. But is it going to be a lot faster and a lot more effective using hypnotherapy? I think so. And that comes from experience with myself and hundreds of clients. So think about right now, what is something that you really want to shift in your life? What are some changes that have maybe been more challenging for you to shift? And you can even pause the video right now and just really reflect on that. Take that time, invest that time in yourself because you're worth it. Invest that time in yourself to really reflect on what do I want to change? Where would I want to see myself? Right? So anything that influences us below the level of looking is subconscious. So I worked with a wonderful client who was losing weight and she really wanted to lose this weight. She wanted to drop off 35 pounds from her body. And before she found hypnotherapy, she had been trying to lose that same 35 pounds for about 10 years. So you can see how there were these subconscious programs running rampant, controlling her. And consciously, she wanted nothing more in the world than to lose that weight. But her subconscious was programmed in another way. So that's why subconscious release is important. And there can be very cathartic subconscious releases as well. So, some things you might want to shift subconsciously is beliefs, habits, addictions, responses that you have to stimuli, limiting beliefs, ways of being, doing, and having. And you might also want to shift away from the programming that was installed by your parents because they were doing the best they could, but from age 0 to 5, we soak things up like sponges. And so we probably find ourselves with a few programs in there from our parents that are not serving us at this point in our life. So we can consciously bang our heads against a wall proverbially and not get anywhere. The cycles will continue. We could want it with every fiber of our being consciously, but the subconscious is always going to win. The conscious mind, the analytical mind, that's the part of our mind that is always, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to do about this situation or that situation? So it's a very in the mind. The subconscious is feeling based and it works in pictures. The superconscious is all of our subconsciouses put together. So when it gets below that conscious level of looking, that's where there's some really telling things about the way you're living your life because they're running off of these programs. The subconscious mind is a computer program where it will tell you what to do at this time because it's used to you doing it. And in today's culture and modern world, it's very, very difficult to shift a pattern when you drive down the same roads every day, you see the same people every day, you watch the same creators online every day. So you have to change a lot of those things up to keep your subconscious building new neural pathways. So we can consciously bang our heads against the wall trying to force things and flesh things into existence. But the subconscious is always going to win bottom line. The subconscious will always win out. So in the courses that I teach a quantum hypnotherapy certification program. And in that course, and even including Reiki training, I teach from that angle of really finding the root of these subconscious programs and shifting that energy out. Um, so think about what's bothering you right now. Think about just a moment ago when I asked you what you wanted to shift, what did you choose? And I want you to really just close your eyes right now and you can just let your imagination run completely free. And how would you describe that energy? How are you really feeling energetically when you think about this? Is there a lot of resistance there? And especially if you've already tried to make this change over and over and you haven't had luck, there's probably a stronger emotional charge of resistance because our brain, again, it's like a computer program, so it's always going to kind of bring in things from our past and it's trying to keep us safe. It has a good intent, but it gets a little misguided. And I'll tell you how this works. Let's take that weight loss example with my client who wanted to lose the 35 pounds. So, with her, by the time she got into hypnotherapy, she had built so much emotional charge around this losing this 35 pounds that she couldn't lose it because that resistance is what she was feeling. The subconscious mind works in feeling. So she was feeling this lack of alignment every time she thought about losing the weight. It's so far off, and all she could feel was what was in her body. And that had been programmed over time. And you might think, well, how is that resistance trying to help me? It's because when that eating pattern was formed, when she was in her early 20s and she was an older gal, um, that was there to protect her. It was there to tell her, well, if you eat, you'll be comforted and you won't have to feel that emotion around this abuse that happened to you. So that's what was going on with her. And we were able to get to that root. But first, we had to work through that initial resistance that came up in her body against losing the weight. So, to subconsciously do a subconscious release, we first must consciously and really consciously look at this and bring awareness to the equation. So that's about 60% of shifting anything is just having that awareness and seeing what's going on consciously. And I know a lot of this stuff gets kind of confusing because you might be thinking, well, consciously, you just said conscious mind is not very powerful. Truth, but we do have to shine that conscious awareness into those shadows, just like a light illuminates a dark room. So we have to get a really good idea of what's going on that we don't like first. What are these patterns like? What are these cycles like? And then we have to drop into our body energetically and kind of become an energetic detective and really look at what are these energy patterns manifesting as? Do they have a certain shape? Do they have a certain color? Do they remind us of a certain emotion? If that energy was a person, what would that person be like? Who would that be? So, all of these things are going to help us put more conscious awareness on it where there used to be none, right? Because you probably didn't think too much about that energy before, and then it was running behind the scenes without you even really knowing what's going on. But by adding these descriptors to the energy, by really getting curious about how the energy manifests, that is putting so much good conscious awareness on the energy patterns in your body. So that energy in your body then becomes our guide to take us where we need to go to figure out the root of it. So you might be cursing that energy right now, being like, I wish it wasn't here. I just want to move towards success. And you're heading in that direction. You're doing it. But this is so, so important because that energy becomes the guide to show us what truly needs to be released and the root of it. So there's a lot of encoded information in these energetic patterns. So let's say that you think about making this change and making this shift, and a bunch of anxiety flares up in your chest and in your stomach. Your entire abdomen feels like there's just this brick of energy, this wall of energy there with anxiety, with fear, with that is a lot of information. Thoughts make up emotions. Thousands of thoughts make up one emotion. So you have thousands of thoughts over and over again. They create the feeling. So they create this feeling. We kind of reverse engineer it. And that takes us to and in that information that's encoded. And that information that's encoded is going to be the actual key to you shifting and releasing this energy. So that's what we call bioenergetic patterning. So there might be these patterns and they're bioenergetic because there really is a physical component of that energy that lives in your body. And when we release subconsciously and when we have a cathartic release, like think about when you're grieving and you just can't stop crying, that is actually flushing out a lot of energy. And that's why it's happening. So that bioenergetic patterning is going to be influenced by any session that you do, and any shift that you have is going to shift that energy, maybe even just ever so slightly. But it takes a long time for these programs to get built up. So it's realistic to understand that it might take some time to undo it and to reverse engineer it, but it's not going to take nearly as long as it took to embed it, and as long as you walked around with those patterns causing ruckus. So once you have identified that pattern in your body, then you're going to want to find a way to speak to the deepest parts of you, to your subconscious and your superconscious levels of mind. And intention is so freaking powerful. So set that intention that I will be communicating today with my subconscious and superconscious levels of mind. I will do everything in my power to get the most out of this. When you speak to the subconscious, there's a few different things you can do to really connect with it. And there's a few different processes within that. Um, the first one is just to simply work with the energy itself and completely remove who you are as a person and objectively work with the energy. Talk to the energy. You can have a dialogue with the energy. What do you need? What are you here for? And what are you trying to protect me from? And then you can feel that energy, fully feel it. You can allow that to shift and change, even if that energy wants to get a little bit bigger, that's fine. You're creating space and you don't know what's going to happen in that space, but you're creating the space for something to happen. The other way we can work with that is through guided regression with a hypnotherapist. That's something that I do, and I'm more than happy to help you personally with this as well. Um, and in a guided regression, the hypnotherapist is going to connect with your superconscious through a deep trance state and then regress you back. And your body is very, very wise. Your subconscious and your body have memorized absolutely everything that your soul has ever experienced, not only in this life, but also in a past life. Um, and in a regression, we're going to take you back and unlock the origin of that energy. And then we're going to do a lot of work on that older timeline. And we're going to help you look at this in a whole new way by the end of it and reintegrate, re educate, form new connections, new neural pathways. And remember that through that process, it's an alchemization process. So it's not simply removing that energy. Anytime we remove energy, we have to add energy back in. Maybe it's a whole different energy, most likely will be, but we can't just take energy away without putting more energy back in and then alchemizing that energy with the energy that's already in your field. So, what do you want to experience instead of that dark heaviness? Maybe you want to experience balance, control, love, curiosity. Maybe you want to experience alignment with who you really are. Then you're going to bring that energy in and you're going to link that with some type of sense that's in your body. So maybe you visualize and you feel what that feels like to really be in control. My client who did end up losing the 35 pounds, she just visualized herself fully in control, feeling great on the scale. It clocks in at the perfect weight for her. And by the way, there's also no such thing as a perfect weight. It needs to be what works for you. But for her, that was her perfect weight for a variety of different reasons. And so she was really able to bring in that future beautiful version of herself that had already lost the weight and actually tap her frequency and bring her higher self's frequency into her body. So, a lot of this is going to be about balancing your cosmic and your earth energies. Um, but whenever we subtract, we have to add energies back in. When we let go of an older program, we have to put a new one in. And that's what hypnotherapists are here to help you with. I definitely recommend you working with a hypnotherapist, and I can be that person for you. There are a lot of great hypnotherapists on our planet at this time. But the benefit to that is think about this investment in yourself and think about all the other things that you spend money on, even maybe this thing that you're wanting to shift. And if you could put that investment towards something that's really going to change you and your life in every aspect, what would that even be worth to you? It would be priceless, right? So, the benefit of working with a hypnotherapist on shifting and releasing old programs and installing new ones is there's a period of time after you release the old and as you are fully aligning with the new programs that you're really going to need a lot of accountability and support because you're becoming a whole new person that you've never been before. That's going to take a lot of support, and we can guide you through that process and we can cheer you on. We can call you on your BS. Tough love, right? I do that all the time. And people have come back to thank me about it later. They might not be too happy in the moment, but if you're really ready to make these changes and you're really ready to release the older programs that are no longer serving you, just run your credit card and do it because you are going to be in a whole new world once you've done this work. You're not going to see things the same way. The universe is going to respond to you in a whole new way. You're going to attract more things to you that are truly meant for you and that you truly need. And you're just simply not going to be a vibrational match anymore to these old programs that are holding you back. So it's really important also to work with a trauma informed practitioner um, because you're going to need a lot of help processing and integrating what this brings up for you and help you figure out what the new energy that you're installing is. And they're going to help you with that new installation of energy. Um, but just know you can ground into that energy of wish fulfilled. And that's going to help drive the change itself because it's actually the energy that creates the manifestation in physicality. Most people wait for conditions to differ in physicality before they feel that emotion, but it's actually backwards because it's that emotion that is going to bring the physical thing about. Everything starts energetically. Think about a tiny little baby. Starts energetically before it's even 1/100th of the point on a pin. It's spirit. So is everything. Everything is energy. Everything is consciousness. And intention is one of the most powerful things. You're going to be encoding new programs using your intention. And it's going to take a reinforcement process for around 2 to 4 weeks after you have the cathartic release. About 2 to 4 weeks from that, you're going to have to constantly be reinforcing it. So I might give you phrases to write out 25 to 50 times a day on paper in a notebook. I might make a custom hypnotherapy tape for you in your own words for you to listen to as you walk or while you're working out at the gym or in your house, right? So there's many different ways to reinforce that, but it has to be personalized to your subconscious, to how you would word things. The subconscious really responds well to your own words. I could say something and it means something totally different for you. So you'll need that reinforcement, and the subconscious loves repetition. So you will be able to do this. I totally believe in you. You can try this on your own, and I'm just going to do a recap of what this might look like in your own meditation. And if you need the support, there's no shame in that. That's what I'm here for. So send me a message, send me an email. I'm here for you. Um, so recap. First, you're going to want to think about what you want. Think about what you're creating in life. Think about the patterns you want to shift. Close your eyes and really bring in the energy that comes up in your energy field around this issue. Really observe that energy, give it different descriptors. Visualize if it was a person, what would it be like? Feel it, involve the senses. Then you're going to be present with that energy. You're going to create space around that energy to do whatever it wants to do with you as the observer. And you're going to watch what it does. Maybe it gets bigger, maybe it gets smaller, but you're going to stay present with that until it's fully worked through. Um, you may also count yourself back from 10 to 1 while you're feeling that energy, knowing that you're moving back through time and space, and see if that originating scene does come through for you. We have a lot more advanced techniques that we use as hypnotherapists So if you can't get material to come through, definitely book an appointment and we'll help you with that. But you're going to want to work with the energy in your own way that resonates with you. Once that energy is resolved, once you've given yourself what you needed at that time or when it first originated, or you've given perspective, you've heard that energy and what its positive intent was, and you've re educated yourself, you've reframed it, then you're adding in that new energy. We never want to release without adding new in. Then you're adding that new energy in, and then you're reinforcing that for about 2 weeks. You're reinforcing the positive desired state and letting yourself have that energy of the wish already being fulfilled. So I hope that was helpful for you today. And thank you so much for being a part of this, being a part of our channel. I love making these videos and helping you see things in new ways. And I hope that it's really helping you shift. So if you're enjoying these videos, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This really helps us get this workout to more people that need it on our planet at this time. And don't forget to like, comment, and share this information with anyone who you think may benefit. Feel free to share my phone number with them, my contact info, my email address. I'm looking forward to connecting in another now moment, and we'll talk soon. Bye.